Welcome to a new episode of the Coffee Talk Show.
We're super excited to have you here with us, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to us on Spotify, because today we wanted to talk to you about one thing that not many expat coaches are talking about in general.
Yes, you have so many things to prepare before you move abroad, but we bet there is one thing that you haven't thought about.
Yeah, because honestly, we looked on so many blogs and so many websites, and not many people are talking about this one thing that when you're preparing yourself for a move abroad, you should take into consideration. And that's what we're here to talk to you about today. So
have your coffee with you and let's dig in.
Let's dig in. So Maayan, how many times have you moved countries?
A lot. I hate counting, so I'm not gonna count. But so many times we moved together as sisters, as family, and we moved apart as well. And we moved as kids, as teenagers, as adults, as a mother, we moved a lot.
Yeah.
And we prepared ourselves actually a lot of those times in different ways and experienced different things.
And I think in general, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember all of those moves. I was young. I don't remember. But I think that many of the times we really prepared the technical things, the logistic things, the very known, let's call it things. Let's give you some examples.
Getting a visa, getting health insurance.
It didn't work out.
Bank accounts, learning a language sometimes, not all the time.
Getting those checklists and understanding what are the things that I need to take care of before I move. Because you talked about opening a bank account. I don't know for you, but it's something that you do after you move. But before you move, we talked about languages. Yeah. We got our ear to listen more to those the foreign language.
Not always.
Not always?
No, not always. When we moved to France for the first time, we actually didn't have a lot of preparation at all. All we did is, pack our stuff and move. This is from our point of view. I'm sure our parents had some kinds of preparation. I know that our dad went 3 months before us to find an apartment, to find a job, to find us schools, to register to schools, and that's about it, I think, in terms of preparation before the move. From our side, before the move, it was,
pack your things.
Pack your things. Selling. We sold most of our belongings and saying goodbyes. That's another thing you do before you move abroad.
Before you move abroad. So all those things we got to use, we got to practice it on ourselves for so many years, and every single time we moved, and it's very familiar and then you move. And you have a house,
and now you need to
leave.
And I want to say something very important, because some of you may have a relocation agency or someone else that is taking care of all those preparation. We moved once this way. We relocated with our father's company, so they took care of everything. They packed our house. They helped us find an apartment, the schools. Everything was taken care of. So you might think, well, there's no need to prepare yourself before you move abroad if this is your case. Well, we think you're wrong.
we think there's another way, because in our experience, there was one thing missing every single time for so many of those moves. That, as we said in the beginning, not many people are talking about.
Yeah.
Not many people are talking about preparing ourselves, preparing yourself. It's this thing that is beyond all the external things. It's like the inner work before you move abroad.
Yeah, and it's actually a work. Like you need to train yourself before you move abroad. And honestly, this is the one thing that changed for both of us, I think, with this last move that we
Yeah.
did. So I know I did a lot of work with myself. I know I did a lot of work with my kids, with my husband, like actual inner work. And I know you did the same as well. And this really made a huge difference in terms of how we experience this journey of moving abroad. And this is what we want to talk to you today about, this, your preparation, like yourself on different levels before you move abroad. And if you moved abroad already, it's not too late. You can do that.
You can still benefit from it. And you see, like, I look at life and those websites that say, like, there are two kinds of people. Like, in everything, you have two kinds of people. Well, in this case as well, you have two kinds of people. You have those who are waiting for things to get tough or to be sick or to be in pain or whatever, to only then take care of, like, to solve the problem. Basically, they're looking for the problem to arise before they solve it. And then you have those who are anticipating it. And, coming from positive psychology in general is exactly about that. If you've ever listened to anything about positive psychology compared to, like, the normal, what we call psychology, it's not about solving what's wrong. It's about anticipating what can be right and improving a future and looking at a brighter opportunities and possibilities, but by preparing yourself to eventual things that can happen.
Yeah, and it comes also from a lot of Zen cultures and yoga. It's about practicing when things are okay.
Yeah.
And preparing yourself for things that might go harder.
It's not that you're wanting them to get harder, but you are anticipating that it might be the case. And therefore, you're taking actions today where it's easy, comfortable, okay, all is good, thinking that it will help you, knowing it will help you later on. And in so many areas of life, we see that.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
Like,
let's give some examples.
So, top of my head, it's winter time. So many people are taking some kind of vitamins, supplements, any kind of help to boost the immunity system. So especially after COVID, everyone is, like, more aware of that. So we do some things right now so that we won't get sick during winter. We're not waiting to get sick to then take medicine to feel better. We're boosting ourselves so we feel better. This is one example.
Yeah, another one is when you work out, for example, you use your physical body, then a lot of times, and it's recommended to prepare yourself for it, to warm up your muscles, to stretch a little bit before you hit, hardcore work on your body. And it's very common. You see all the athletes are doing this, and I think most of the people working out are warming up and stretching a little bit or a lot before their actual move, to prevent injuries, for example. So they're not waiting for the muscles to get super hot or to have cramps or things like that in order to stretch them. They stretch them in advance.
It's like now it's a winter holiday in France, and everyone is, not everyone, but like 80% of the population, I think, is going skiing. a lot of them. And that's a sport that you don't do all year long. So you really need to prepare for it, because otherwise, after one day, you won't be able to move. It's like...
And there are a lot of people that are not preparing themselves, and they're actually really sore at night.
Yeah. So this is another example, and you can look at, like, preparing for an interview. You don't wait to get attacked by so many questions about a company without knowing where you're going, right? You're preparing yourself because they might ask you questions. So you prepare your knowledge. You make sure you arrive in a good state that you're happy on that day. You won't go completely angry to an interview. It won't work for you, right? So all of those things, just to give you a couple of examples, we do it. Like, if you're one of those, because I understand that not everyone is doing that, but we're doing it because we anticipate that things might get in a certain way or might happen, and we rather prepare ourselves for it rather than wait for things to get hard and then try to solve the situation.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, and sometimes you have to once try the way that you wait for the things to get hard and then take care of the problem to understand that next time you better prepare yourself before. Sometimes, you can listen to us now. We made our mistakes and you can learn from our mistakes. But honestly, most of the times you have to do the mistake once, at least once yourselves, to understand that what we're saying here is actually true.
And that's why it's always fascinated me. Since we started, the amount of women we had the chance to talk to, and that shared with us that, gosh, where were you 10, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago? I was having such a hard time. If only I knew I should prepare myself. Here we are telling you.
Lucky you. We are here right now for you. And if you are before you move abroad, then listen to what we have to say. And maybe, just maybe, you won't have to make the same mistake we did in order to get to those understandings.
Because I want to share with you. It's not, as Maayan said, we haven't done it every time. It's literally something we consciously did the last move. And before that, some of it was, let's say, we were more prepared, some of it really not. And it caused so many painful moments, so many low moments, so many moments of doubt and guilt and shame and frustration, and that those moments could have been avoided if only we prepared ourselves. Looking back, I can tell you for sure, I remember going to uni. If only I was more prepared myself to this move to London, it would have saved me so many nights of crying my eyes out. And same with when I went from London to Israel. And true, there were other things involved in that. But if I felt stronger myself, my core, it would have been easier. I don't say it would have been perfect all along. The challenges are there, and we say it all the time. It didn't get easier to move abroad, but we got stronger doing it. So not every bump in the road completely threw us off track. We know how to deal with it in a way that serves us. And it's only possible because we feel better, we feel stronger, we feel more confident, and we then can deal with everything else.
Yeah, and I gotta admit, some of the things that made us stronger are exactly those moves.
Yeah.
That weren't, going as we wanted and were really tough.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go through a difficult move. You can right now have a smoother move and just prepare yourself, where it's easy and comfortable. You don't have to wait for things to get harder.
Yeah.
You can, but you don't have to. This is your choice. So if you want to decide right now that you're going for the option of preparing yourself before you move abroad, where things are comfortable right now, and maybe you decided to move abroad in a year, and that's the perfect time to
start
prepare
working
yourself.
on that.
Right now, you don't have a lot of stress about this move, and maybe you think to yourself, "Ooh, I don't know what I need to do before my move abroad." Well, here you are. Work on yourself.
So when we're saying you need to prepare yourself, okay? So and I just want to make sure you understand. It's not that we say you don't need to take care of all the other things, okay? You need to have your visa, and you need to find an apartment, and you need to learn the language, and you need to go through all those things. that are a must when you want to live somewhere else, and it's true for another country, but it's true for if you want to move to a different city in your home country. You need to know, you need to have those things, but who you are when you deal with all of them will make the big difference. And that's where we're here telling you need to prepare yourself. So what do we mean by preparing yourself?
So we thought about 5 things that in our belief are those areas that you need to prepare within yourself, okay? So that when you go and deal with all the things, the technical and logistical things of a move abroad, then you're better prepared for it.
Yeah.
So we have 5 things.
The first one is confidence. And it's a big world. We big thing. Everyone's talking about confidence these days. But it's that simple. It's about understanding, do you think you can do this? Do you really believe in your gut that you can do this and that it will be okay? And now, what are you doing to boost your confidence up? And what are you maybe doing that actually lowers your confidence and make you doubt yourself and make you question every step you take?
And it's super simple. The things that boost your confidence are the things you're doing that actually make you feel good about yourself. Yeah, I can do that. And the things that lower your confidence are all those things that make you doubt yourself, that you're not so good at, but you still do. The stories that you hear around you that actually validate your fears. All those, the news, for example, or reading posts on Facebook about the horrible stories of a move abroad, all those are lowering your confidence. And you might not notice how many things a day you're doing that actually beat your confidence down constantly. And it's a question of awareness at the beginning. Just be aware of how many things a day you're doing to boost your confidence and how many things a day you're doing that lower your confidence. And just try to balance it a little bit.
Yeah. And Maayan gave an example of the news and the Facebook posts. We see it all the time. We go on Facebook and we look at those Facebook groups of women living abroad in different areas of the world. And we see so many stories that can bring you down really, really fast. Like you read a post after another and you're like, if this is how it's going to be, I don't think I can do that. And that's where I'm here to say, can you stop for a moment and ask yourself, can I do this? Can I? What have I done in my life that I know I can do this? And now what can I do to make me feel like I can more and more and more? And it's about who we talk to. It's about who we listen to. It's about what we do on a daily basis that makes us feel that we can do this.
Yeah, the easiest way to boost your confidence is do more of the things that make you feel good about yourself and less of the things that make you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, I know that I'm not good with numbers. I know that I'm not good at it. So the more I'll do it, my confidence is going to
go down
to the ground. But I know that, for example, my creativity is a strength of mine. So the more I do creative things, the more I have confidence in myself. So even if I need to deal with number, when I'll deal with it with creativity, then my confidence won't be as shaken down than in other way. So it's really about knowing yourself a little bit and doing more of those things that make you feel good and less of the things that make you doubt yourself.
Yeah, and there are plenty of practical tools and stuff you can do to actually boost your confidence. But the thing is, you need to make sure your confidence is high when you move abroad. That's what we're here telling you. So when you prepare yourself for a move abroad, you need to think about your confidence levels.
Yeah, because your goal is, to sit on that plane and say to yourself, I can do it. I can do it. And even before the plane, When you're packing, I
Yeah,
can do it.
I
When you're filling a form, I can do it. When you're arriving in an empty apartment, I can do it. When you go for a job interview in a new country, I can do it. This is your goal, to say to yourself all the time, I can do it. Even if it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I can do it. It's challenging, but I can do it. I don't know how to do it, but I know I can do it.
Yeah.
That's next level.
That's and I want to go to give an example of what can be the contrary, because this is what we see all the time. Those people are saying, I gotta suck it up and do it. It's not that I can do it, I have to do it. I don't have a choice but to do it. I have to, and I feel incapable and stressed and low, but I'll do it anyway. But it's much better if you do it as Maayan said, I know it's challenging, but I can do it. And you feel strong. And the only way you'll get there is if you work on this where it's easy and nice and comfortable, and then you feel good. And you can then go and do it.
Yeah.
So that was number 1, confidence. Very important.
And it brings us directly to number 2, which is, it goes together.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's resilience. And, it took me years to understand what this word mean exactly. But thank you. And Gal explained it perfectly to me. So she'll do it as well for you.
Resilience is about the quick way for us to bounce back from challenging moments. So think of it as this just like a kid, okay? When a kid is learning to walk, he will stand up, he will fall, and he will stand back up immediately. You don't see a kid going, too hard. I'm not doing it again. You do it again. So resilience is exactly about that. How quickly it is for us to bounce back from hard times, from challenging situations. Do we take a week to bounce back? Do we take an hour, a couple of seconds, months, years? How long does it take us to go back on the horse? Okay, so we do it again. And this is a muscle. This is a superpower. We all have it. You've been born with it. I hope you know how to walk. So I guess you have it in your core. But we tend to forget it, and we tend to put it aside and be like, I can't do it anymore. I can't. Actually, you can.
Yeah, and this one is really, really important when moving abroad, because you will have to deal with challenges, a lot of challenges, a lot of moments that will, make you fall off the horse. It will happen. We are not here to make life abroad perfect. It will happen. There are days where you'll feel that all you do is fall down the horse. And if you want to move on and move forward and actually live this life, then you gotta get back on the horse and keep on riding, because otherwise you'll stay on the ground all the time. And this is so frustrating. And when you don't work on your resilience, then you find yourself really frustrated and angry, and you doubt yourself and your capability, which brings your confidence down as well. So that's a vicious cycle that you don't want to be in. And in order to step out this vicious circle, then you need to work on your resilience. And like Al said, it's a muscle. You can train it just like you train any other muscle. You go to the gym to work on your muscle, then you can work on this muscle as well, on your resilience. And you fall down, and at first it will be, okay, I'm down. I can get up. Yes, I can get up. How am I going to get up? I don't know if I can do this. And then eventually you will get up.
Yeah.
It might take you a week, a month, just like you said. At the beginning, that's okay. But the more you work on this, intentionally, then you say to yourself, well, I need to get up. I need to get up faster and faster and faster and quicker, and not take things,
that personally,
so seriously and that personally. It happened to us as well,
all the time.
All the time we take things personally, and it's then harder to bounce back Because, you say to yourself, someone corrects you, you don't speak the language and someone corrects you in the shop, for example, and then you fall down and you say, I'm not going to speak any French again in my life. Did it happen to you? Maybe you heard someone said, me, for example, I'm never going to speak again. But actually, if you think about it, this doesn't serve you. So you need to go back on the French horse and ride it, even though you'll make mistake. And you will fall down and someone else will correct you again. And then you'll say, ooh, I'm so stupid, I can't talk French, I can't speak, all I do is mistakes. Those negative self-talk. But the more you practice and know, the more it will be in your awareness, you will be able to actually bounce back faster.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize something here, and that's why we said it is very much correlated with the first thing that we talked to you about, confidence. Usually, in areas of our life where we feel very, very confident, our resiliency level is through the roof. It's super high, okay? Because it's harder to shake us on those areas of our life. But then in areas where our confidence is lower, our resiliency tends to be lower as well, because we're starting those inner negative conversations of, I can't do this. I knew I can't do this. I suck at this. I'm super bad. But it's the confidence talking. So basically what we're doing is just like bringing ourselves even more down. But as Maayan said, at some point, you may be like falling on the ground, but at some point you will have to stand back up and you will have to start walking again and you will have to ride the horse or whatever metaphor you enjoy. You'll have to do this. So that's why we say start by working on your confidence so that your resiliency level will be higher. And now guess what? If you've never moved abroad, you don't know what are the levels of confidence you have regarding a life abroad. You'll only figure it out when you live abroad. But that's when we're saying to you, work on all the other areas of your life, because those make sure you are super strong and your resilience level is super high, so that when you jump on this new adventure that you have no idea about, you will be able to tap in from all the other areas of your life and make sure that you don't stay on the ground. Because this will only make it harder for you and it won't serve you, as Maayan said. Like if the first time someone will correct you in a foreign language and you will be like, I'm not speaking again. Well, guess what? They are not missing out of you not speaking. The only person missing out is you won't be able to communicate.
Yeah.
So you gotta work on that.
Absolutely.
The third, so we talked about confidence and resilience.
And they go together, but you can work on them separately.
Yeah.
And the third one is the third one is your emotional state. And what does it even mean, your emotional state? So we love talking about emotions, and it's part of our life. It's part of who we are. Sometimes we love to hide them and to ignore them, but actually we are here to tell you that your emotions matter, and your emotional state, the way you are with your emotion, is really, really important.
Yeah, and it's important to understand that emotional state compared to emotions is how you react to your emotions. Because basically, we all feel a lot of emotions all of the time. It's a natural thing in our body. We all have them. We cannot avoid them. Those are coming like waves. It comes, it goes. But what you do with the emotion, it's up to you. And when we're talking about an emotional state, it's what you do with those emotions. Because you can have this emotion of sadness coming up or joy coming up and do nothing about it. And it will not affect you in any kind of way. You will just be like, hey, hi, nice, okay, and bye. But if it brings you down, if it stays for long, this is up to you. So when we're talking about an emotional state, is how does those emotions impact your day-to-day, your current state in general? It's not only about the emotion anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe if you're having a hard time understanding what we're talking about, so look at your behaviors those last days or weeks. And do you feel maybe more irritated, like everything, is so annoying and everything makes you cry, or you're waking up in the middle of the night, not understanding why actually, or are you screaming more, shouting more, getting more angry, or those very opposite ups and downs, like super excited, then super low. Then if this is you right now, big hug to you. Yes. It means your emotional state is not that stable at the moment.
Yeah.
And that you let your emotions maybe take over.
Take over. Basically, it's sometimes easier for us as women here to give you this as an example with our cycle. Okay, when we are more emotional or less emotional, it's usually related to it in some way. And it's easy for us to say, yeah, well, it's my time of the month. That's why I'm more irritated. I'm more like this. But basically, it's where something happens in our body that makes us control our emotions less than what we tend to be able to. So when we're talking here about an emotional state, is when we're telling you, hey, something's about to happen. It's called life abroad, and it's gonna shake your emotional state. So if you want to be able to manage it better and understand it better, like we said before, better work on it where it's easy and comfortable and not completely shaky.
Yes, and you said control your emotions, and control doesn't mean, if you have an emotion, you take it immediately down.
No.
It's not about ignoring the emotion or not letting it out. It means it doesn't take over of everything, okay? It means it is what it is, Don't make it harder or bigger or worse than it is, or don't make it, tinier than it is. It is what it is.
I want to share with you a very personal thing. A couple of years ago, when I started learning about emotions, we had to explain we had to do like an investigation for a couple of days and look at what are the emotions that we're feeling. And there was one clear emotion that I wasn't experiencing, and it was anger. Now, I had to dig deeper and understand where it comes from, and it comes from many things. I'm not going to go into this in details right now. But the thing is, I didn't know what anger is for me. I tend to shift it to other emotions, and I've never experienced it properly at the time. And then I was taught that we need to have all of our emotions, okay? It's not about neglecting them. There's no positive or negative emotions. It's what we love calling them, but basically they are all neutrals, and it's what we do with them that give them a meaning. Okay? But you can experience all of them, and what you do with them is what matters. And I had to learn to say, I feel angry. I feel angry.
That's better.
But it doesn't mean I need to punch a wall. It doesn't mean I need to shout. It doesn't mean that because I feel angry, I need to now get a tsunami out. This is what I tend to do. But you can. It's not about not doing it, but it doesn't mean it has to. It's not 1 + 1. It doesn't have to. It's what you decide you have to do with it. The same way that, let me give you on another side. When you feel joy, okay, and I guess, and I hope all of you here have ever and more than once felt joy in their life, it doesn't mean you jump up and down, right? And if you could, but it doesn't mean you have to. You can express joy in so many ways. So it's up to you how you experience it and how you express it.
Yeah, but I want to tell you, like, I want to be here, like, you're a pain in your ass right now, and tell that, you know, when you have an emotion that is, you know, rising from the bottom up, usually, you know, and it's hard to say, I feel anger, I feel joy. Like, you need to let it out in a certain way. I think.
It's up to you.
I think you don't have to. I think that containing it, an emotion.
It's not about containing it. It's about understanding how you want it to experience, you want to experience it.
It's about how you want to express it, maybe.
Or express it.
Okay, but you have to express it in a way. Or I think it's more beneficial. This is my personal opinion. I think it's more beneficial to express it in a way and then let it out, rather than, you know, letting it and say, ooh, I feel joy. Ooh, I feel anger. It's very, you know, contained. Rather than, you know, I have an emotion, it's like a wave, but if I let it out, then it's out. And I'm not, well, maybe it's another topic.
It's another.
But anyway, I love it when we're not agreeing on everything. And that's exactly why we did this podcast, actually, to let you inside our conversations. We have them all the time, so
we could do a 24/7 kind of podcast.
Yeah, but when we're talking about, you know, let's go back to this emotional state. The thing is, and the ideal state to be in is acknowledging your emotions, seeing them, it's there, but not let them, you know, overshadow everything regarding your move abroad. It's not because packing makes you feel sad that this whole move abroad is sad. It's not because, you know, bureaucracy makes you angry that all the move abroad right now is, you know, filled with anger. It's not about that. It's about having all the range of emotion, acknowledging what emotion is there, expressing it in a way that suits you.
Yeah.
And
be aware of that. Yeah. That's I think the key here. It goes again, confidence, resiliency, emotional state, who you are when you move abroad. We said it before and I'll say it again because it's about that. When you feel emotionally stable, when you feel like you got this, well, you got this. Things might be a bit weird. You might feel different type of emotions, but you don't break.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the key about emotional state. Okay,
yeah, you can feel angry but confident that you can do it.
Exactly. So that was our third point. The fourth element of preparing yourself, and we're talking about this inner thing, is your stressors. And we've done other episodes about it, and you can go and listen to them more in depth if you feel like it. But this idea of understanding what stresses us, and it's not what stresses you or you, it's what every single one of us has their own things that stresses them.
Yeah. And, you know, it's, like you said, very, very personal. And actually, in order to know this, all you have to do is watch yourself, you know, observe your behavior around this move abroad and see where are those areas that you might lose it, that you might get more angry, that you might doubt yourself. Those are the area that usually stresses you. Okay, because you won't doubt yourself or something that you're super confident, and it won't make you stress usually. So all you need to do is observe yourself, find the things that really stresses you, because it's never the move abroad. It's not that big. Go, you know, smaller.
Break it down to the really tiny things, and you'll soon find out that the same thing that are stressing you right now about your life in general, regardless of your move, are the same things that are going to stress you when you move abroad. So they're just going to be bigger and different, but it's going to be the same areas. So if you are able to know right now about yourself. Like, for example, numbers. If numbers stresses you, okay, they are stressing you right now wherever you are, and they will stress you wherever you go. So if you know this about yourself, well, then you can anticipate it and be like, ooh, those are tax forms. I just cannot handle them. Who can I get help from? Because this will freak me out. And I rather not. I keep my emotional state stable. Okay?
And you know, it's the other way around as well. You know, those things that you feel confident about and are not stressing you, then don't let everything, all the other stress, take control on them as well.
Yeah.
You know, for example, for me, I read, like you said before, we read a lot of Facebook posts about life abroad and moving abroad, you know, to understand you better. And I see a lot of women stressing about creating new friendships and new relationships and really freaking out about this. How am I going to find friends? I'm 40 years old. I don't know how to make friends at this age. I'm not in kindergarten. And I read this and I really understand you. But actually, this is not something that ever stressed me, how to make new friends. It doesn't stress me at all. And at the beginning, I found myself stressing about something because everyone else is stressed about. So yeah, I'll do it as well. I'll get stressed about finding new relationships. But actually, it doesn't stress me. It doesn't mean that it's easy for me. It doesn't mean that it's not challenging. But actually, this doesn't stress me. So there's no need to stress about something
that is not yours.
That is not mine.
Yeah.
And think about it. Maybe for you, it's the job that you find really easy to find. Or maybe for you, it's, you know, the language. Maybe you have a talent for language and this doesn't really stress you. So let it go. Don't stress about it. That's totally fine. You don't have to stress about everything about this move abroad.
Yeah. Even if everyone else is telling you how challenging and how stressful and how anxiety is coming up.
It doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah.
Just that you don't have to stress about it.
Exactly. So knowing what's really stresses you, what's the root, what's the inner thing, yours, very personal, is crucial when you're preparing yourself for your move. And you can do it way before you move because it's going to be the very, very similar things. It's just that they're going to get an extra layer and it's going to get even more complicated.
But if you work on your confidence, then you'll be able to deal with this extra layer.
Exactly.
No problem.
And the last thing that we want to share with you is your strengths and your capabilities and your qualities. It's about knowing yourself. And it's like...
we love saying it's like a toolbox that you have. Like imagine you're going with your toolbox and you have many things in this. And again, this is very personal. We each have a different toolbox. You know, some of us as, you know, a hammer and a screw, and another one will have a saw in there.
It doesn't matter.
It's really, really personal. The thing is, you need to learn how to use what you already have before you buy new things because it's better for the environment as well. But you have to learn how to use them and to use those things that you actually used before. And if you think about it, you know, look at other challenges in your life that you've dealt with before and see how have you dealt with them? What tools from your toolbox have you used to deal with it? And now you can use them again.
Yeah. And it's about, again, if we combine all of those things together, it's knowing yourself good enough and seeing the benefits that you have and how you can put them into good use for your move abroad. So when we're talking about your strengths and your qualities, is really looking at yourself in a very honest and open way, in an amazed way, actually, an excited way also, and be like, I have this and this and this qualities and capabilities that I can put into good use with regard to my move abroad. And it can be your sense of humor, and it can be the fact that you're a very kind person and it will help you. And it can be the fact that you are very organized, and it can be the fact that you have an amazing resiliency skill, okay? It doesn't really matter what you're using. It's yours, but you've dealt with so many things in your past. I can guarantee that. You've overcame challenges, you've done things, you've achieved things. Look at what you've done and what you've used, and what can you take out of there and use right now for you move abroad.
Yeah, absolutely. It's better to do it this way than, looking at a move abroad and say, I've never done it before, I can't do it. Because this way won't get you very far. It will only get you frustrated, lower confidence, doubting yourself, feeling sad and angry. And this is not what we want for you. So instead, we are showing you another way of, using what you got to deal with something that you maybe haven't done before. Maybe you did, but maybe not. And actually feel you can do it, even though it's the first time. And even though you don't really know what you need to do, but you have in your toolbox the tools that you need in order to do that. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. But if it doesn't make sense to you, then please reach out to us, because it's part of what we do, and it's what we help you figure out and highlight all those amazing qualities that you have within yourself, so you can put your own self into good use during this move. It's not about everyone else, it's about you. And that's where, to wrap up this talk today, it's really about when you're preparing yourself for a move abroad, you prepare all the logistic things and you prepare all the technical things, and you need them. But you need to make sure you are, as a person, prepared for this move. And because it's gonna get hard at some times, it's gonna be excited at other times, it's going to be adventure, and there's gonna be so many things you'll have to deal with. So you need to make sure you are in a really good state and a really strong state, so that things don't break you down that easily.
Yeah, you've said it perfectly. Thank you.
And if you are before you move abroad and you feel like you need more support and guidance, know that we're here for you. We really, really care. We want women to enjoy their lives abroad. Come on, it's really something. It's really why we created this. So you can join our online course, Move Abroad with Ease, or you can simply reach out to us. We'd love to help you.
Yes, and if you found this valuable and you enjoyed this episode, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast on every podcast platform that you want.
Yes. So on that note, we wish you an amazing week, and we wish you to have an amazing move abroad.
Absolutely. Thank
See you soon.